Hello class, so today we'll be learning about flow of energy throughout biomes. We'll be learning about producers, consumers, and decomposers, as well as the importance and the role that they have within their own environments. So, who can tell me their favorite animal? Do you know what role that animal plays within its environment? As a warm-up, I want everybody to stop and pause the video for 5 minutes. And what I want you to do is I want you to write down the name of your favorite animal. Is it a tiger? Is it a shark? Is it a lion? A rabbit? Is it a snake? I want you to write down your favorite animal, and then underneath that, I would like you to write down how your favorite animal interacts within its environment. I want you to write down things like, what kind of environment do you find that animal in? Is it a tundra? Is it a desert? Is it the ocean? Would it be found in the rainforest? I wanted you to write that down, and then I want you to write down how it interacts with other organisms within its environment. Does it prey on other animals? Is it a predator, or is it perhaps a prey? Is it an animal that likes to stay to itself, or is it an animal that is easily seen within its environment? So take a few minutes and write down all of these things. It's going to act as a warm-up activity to get us ready for our lab/field experience today. So the Georgia Standard of Excellence that we'll be focusing on is SL41, which is obtain, evaluate, and communicate information about the roles of organisms and the flow of energy within an ecosystem. So as discussed earlier, there's really three main figures within an environment. It is producers, and producers are any organism that can create their own food. Think about plants. Plants are producers because they're able to produce their own food and their own energy. Other things such as fungi and even some bacteria can also be producers. Secondly, there are consumers. Consumers are any organism that relies on other animals to get energy, or other animals or producers to get energy. Consumers cannot produce their own food. They're predators, and they prey on other organisms to get their food, whether or not that be plants. If they're herbivore, maybe they eat other animals. If they're carnivores, or maybe they eat both if they're omnivores. And then the last figure within an environment we'll be focusing on are decomposers. And decomposers are any animal or organism that breaks down other dead or plant organisms within its environment. And decomposers are really important because they make sure that there's no waste stuck within an environment. They clean up the environment, so they're very vital and often get overlooked. As you can tell, we're outside, and you might be wondering, Mr. T, why are we outside? Well, we're outside because environments and ecosystems are all around us. Just outside of the classroom here, as you can tell, we have this beautiful forest behind us. And if you've listened closely, you might be able to pick up the noise of some birds chirping, and you can see some different plants, and you can imagine that there's lots of animal species within this environment right here behind us. So what we're going to do today for our lab is we're going to create a food web based around what kind of energy flow would be found within this biome. So mind you, we are in South Georgia, so try to think of animals, plants, and decomposers, producers, consumers, and decomposers that would be native to South Georgia. So, don't throw out any polar bears or anything like that. Really use your head and think about animals that you would see in this environment. So, class, what I'm gonna want you to do is, once again, I want you to pause the video, and then I want you to go get a piece of paper. I want you to get coloring pencils, markers, anything that you need that's gonna help you with this. What we're gonna do is we're gonna create a food web that shows the flow of energy throughout this ecosystem that we're looking at behind me here. So I want you to pause the video and take 20 minutes and then create this food web. Think about the fact that you need producers, consumers, and decomposers. Okay, you gotta have all three within your food web. So we're gonna pause the video and take some time to do that, and then afterwards we're gonna come back and I'm gonna help you guys think about and create a food web of some ideas I have of what we would find in this environment. Thank you. All right, class, so by now you should have had a chance to go ahead and create your food web. Um, and really, the importance of a food web is it shows how energy is transferred throughout an ecosystem. So, this ecosystem behind us is a forest. So, just thinking about some things that we would see here is we would see producers, consumers, and decomposers. I'm actually hearing one right now moving around behind me, so I'm getting kind of nervous. All right. So one example of a producer we might see within an environment like this could be something like a berry bush. A berry bush would be a plant that's able to create its own energy. As discussed earlier, that's what a producer is. It's an organism that's able to create energy. Energy is also just another word for a food source for itself. So once again, a producer that you might find here could be something such as a berry bush. Now, the next step in our food web might be that we would see an animal such as a rabbit who eats berries come through and take that energy from the producer and consume it itself. So the rabbit is acting as a consumer, and the energy is flowing from the producer, the berry bush, to the rabbit, the consumer. Now, the energy flow doesn't stop there. Consumers can also take energy from other consumers. Let's say there's a carnivore such as a snake. Let's say a snake comes along, it sees the rabbit all full on the berry, but now the snake is hungry too, so the snake eats the rabbit. What the snake is doing is he's now taking the energy that was transferred from the berry bush to the rabbit, and he's taking it for himself. So this could keep happening. A bird could come, and that bird could eat the snake. And you know what? Now the energy is transferred from the berry bush to the rabbit, to the snake, to the bird. And this could happen countless times, and this just keeps happening and happening within organisms, and energy is constantly recycled throughout an ecosystem because of this. Now, what happens when an animal dies? So once again, kind of focusing on things that we would find in this environment, I see animals such as buzzards who are decomposers around here all the time. So if an animal or an organism dies here, you know, what's going to happen? Is that energy just going to sit there and go to waste? No, the environment's efficient. It knows how to work within itself. So animals such as buzzards who are decomposers will come and they'll actually live off of that dead animal. That's why they're called decomposers. They live off of dead plant and animals, other organisms. Another example of decomposers that we'd find in this environment would be things such as worms. We'll also find some fungi that act as decomposers. Those fungi could take one of these producers, such as this oak tree behind me. If it is fallen, fungi could come and plant itself within the tree, and it would actually use the fallen, dead, decaying oak tree as an energy source for itself. So that's another portion to the food web of the ecosystem. The main thing that I really want you guys to focus on here, and the purpose of the food web, is to show that energy is constantly being transferred within ecosystems. Energy is being transferred from producers to consumers to other consumers to other consumers to decomposers, and it's all one big efficient cycle. So I hope that you guys have learned from this lesson how energy flows through an environment and the organisms that play a part in that, such as consumers, producers, and decomposers. If you guys have any questions, please ask them now. But thank you so much. I hope you enjoy.